Good afternoon, everyone. I mean, good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, I'm talking about good afternoon. Oh my God, what is I'm thinking? I just wanted to just come with you today with this thing because I've been talking about this stuff. It's just what's in season right now about this immigration crisis that's going on in our United States of America, and not just here in United States of America, but this is going on in all different places of the world. I just saw a video not too long ago of some activism going on in Egypt with Palestinian Egypt, whatever, and there's some people in there for asylum over there in Palestine, I think in Egypt from Palestine or something like that. If I come across it, I'll let you see it. But this is the law of the land. This is the law in every place in the world. It's not just here in the United States of America, but this is in every place of the world. When people sneak over the borders illegally, come over the borders illegally, they actually break the law. You know, they come with visas, like I explained yesterday, they come with visas temporarily for asylum, and that's what the was Biden and Harris administration. I wouldn't even say I'm tired of saying Biden and Harris because I don't think Biden, who was the president of the United States, did this. Because remember, Biden cognitively was having some dissonance, cognitively dissonance, and I don't think Biden did something this broke the law like this. Okay, is this happened when Biden was having, he was cognitively going through his sickness. I think that his cabinet, I'm just going to say his cabinet, those people that was supposed to be under the Biden administration that was working with him, his people, took advantage of this situation. They took advantage of Biden as well. I'm just saying that was just a horrible thing to do. That's why I can't deal with these Democrats. They need a whole new. They need to go through that whole new party over there. All of those who took position in leadership in government or whatever as Democrats or whatever, they all should be held accountable that worked under Biden. I mean, they need to be held accountable on the simple fact that I think they took advantage of this poor man's health. They really did. And we can't really say Biden did it. I could say somebody like Kamala did it. I think she had something to do with it. She needs to be investigated because that's what Trump was trying to tell everybody. That's what pissed him off even the most during his campaigning for to serve his term as the president, and that's why they were trying to block him. They was trying to give all these. They was trying to put all of these things on him, criminal charges on him, and hit him with all of these charges as far as like RICO and everything else like that. Trump is a good leader. Trump had to step in place to save America because America was falling apart. And Trump had to put himself in place to be the president of the United States of America, even though he had served one term before and they cheated him out of those votes. And they used simple-minded people that really doesn't, like he said, DEI. Okay, I'm gonna just say DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusive. They preyed on the minds of the weak, okay, to take advantage of that opportunity. You got now we see all the repercussions of all of that. We see everything that's coming on behind all of that. We see political violence going on. That poor woman, this lawmaker and her husband, like I said, who lost their life. And then we see that also was two other people that is in Congress or whatever that had been seriously injured and shot, but they doing well, recovering, whatever. But I'm pretty sure they under some type of protection for their life. And then you see it's just a whole lot that's going on that people just don't truly seem to understand. This is the law. I see some this young girl going over there to a foreign country to do some activism, and I think it's in Iran, and I mean it's one of those places across the borders. Now you see Iran and Israel having a war. This war been going on forever. Israel and Iran, and then they want the United States to get involved. We're like, look, let us have some time to take care of the problems we got over here. We ain't got time to be getting in everybody else's warfare. You know, they need to work it out. They need to come to some kind of way of peace with each other. And Israel and Iran, they just have to come to some kind of way of peace with each other and allow the United States of America, we not going to war with you because we got our own problems over here where we trying to get things on the ground. We need some rest. Every time you call war, 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 we gotta come back. No, 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 no. We don't want to do this no more. Okay? We tired of this. This fight been going on for as long as I know I've been on this earth. This war with Israel and Iran. These two countries fighting all the time. It just gets crazy. So anyway, back to what I'm saying and everything. Um, these young people going over there to these countries in casualty while they having these fights and going over there doing this crazy activism for their illegal situation, like people should have a right to be over here. These students, these crazy talking about I'm a part of these activism teams and we coming from all different places of the world to go over there to help. And I was like, you know what, you get caught up in these people casualty of war and become a war hostage. Ain't nobody paying for you to be released. Ain't nobody paying for you when you get caught over there between these casualties of war and you become a war hostage. Doing your activism over there, talking about immigration and all. I say, you know what? These people are crazy. Okay, these people, I don't join these activism groups because you setting yourself up to go over somewhere and find yourself never coming back. Okay? People, that's how people are stealing people identification and they coming over here to the United States of America, identity fraud. It's a whole lot going on. Pay attention to the politics of the world. Pay attention to what's going on around you. And these young people, they need to know this. And this is why I share this with you. Now, these young people coming over here, I mean, going over there in these countries, because you hear about all of these, you be like, what? They got hostages. You be thinking they war hostages. Like maybe they got some of our soldiers over there. And that could be possible too. Some of our soldiers that go over there and everything and they get caught and they become hostages. But then you could become a hostage too, messing around in these foreign countries, going across these borders, and think you're going to make some social change there or turn their government around over there. You lucky if you make it back home alive. That's why you have to know and study the history of these places before you step foot in their territory. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Then you're going to have people crying to the president, crying to the embassy. Oh, my daughter went over there for so and so and so, and there is no justice. For instance, let's talk about Shanquilla Robinson. I haven't spoke about this young girl. It was horrible. She went over there in that Mexico, over there in Mexico, and the thing that happened to her over there. She went over there. She was alert over there with some friends for some birthday party celebration and some staying in some type of what they call this place again that she stayed in. Um well anyway, that doesn't matter. But look how there was videotape how she was beaten while she was naked. Beaten while she was naked. All we know is some people were there filming it, and all these other friends that she went with, it was seven of them, and only one came. I mean, only it was seven of them, and only six came back, and they became the Carbo Six. Everybody don't really truly. I don't really know what happened truly under that story, even though it was filmed and she was beaten and they said she died of some alcohol poisoning and that whole thing. Her father had to go over there and don't know much about this country. He had to go find his daughter where she was in some morgue or whatever and bring his daughter back, have her body examined. It was a whole big mess when Shanquilla stepped off the land, and her mother even said that when she spoke to her daughter last, when she spoke to her when they got there, she said they was getting ready to eat and all this other stuff. See, I don't do all of that nonsense. I don't be going in all of these foreign countries without really, 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 knowing what's going on. Like I have family members, they like to do a lot of this flying and traveling and going out of the US and posting it on social media on Facebook. You don't know who's watching you as you keep posting all these pictures of traveling all these different foreign places in these countries and going all out of this the off your territory to these foreign lands. Because I mean, if I'm going to die, let me die here, or in America. You know what I'm saying? In America, I don't do too, especially in times like what's going on today, certain things that's taking place today, all these wars that are going on today in the world, all different places. No, don't be ignorant to the law. Now, the exodus about this activism is not really helping these illegals here because these people escaped and they came here for asylum and they came here instead of staying somewhere in a like I said before, instead of staying somewhere like in a place where they kept you in some type of shelter or whatever, you find yourself wanting to come out of the shelter and go across the borders. And maybe when you was waiting there for asylum at the shelters, you came out and you had been detained. I mean, you've been detained at a shelter, and then for your citizenship, as they was going through the process to give you some temporary release into the United States of America, asylum, some temporary asylum. So what you did is that of course, they give you papers and things, like you can work and you can stay here and work until your case comes up. Okay. When your case comes up, then you have a date to appear in court. And when they give you that time to appear in court, you come and they dismiss your case. And meaning dismiss means that you weren't approved to stay here. So you being deported. Now, if you want to go back in your country and apply again, then you can do that. Even some of these attorneys are still messing you up because even some of the immigration attorneys you might have may be a little ignorant to the law themselves. They still don't know the loopholes. They don't understand how this whole thing works. That after a while, we can't afford to keep so many people here illegally. Some of you will have to go back and do it the right way. If you want to come back to the United States or whatever like that, you can reapply your status or whatever. But you got to go back because that's the law. So I'm going to play this video so you can get some understanding from me playing this video, that some people will get an understanding. That's why I said I try to bring. I'm getting this video from. What we have seen. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I don't know what I did here. Okay. Okay.
We're getting an exclusive look at the Trump administration's latest immigration crackdown. For the third day in a row, people are showing up to their scheduled hearings at immigration court, and they were taken away in handcuffs.
So, all across the country, ICE agents are using new tactics never before seen in America.
I'm getting this from Cash Jordan. Shout out to him. This is his video that I'm going to be playing, that he was able to bring this information to you. Don't be ignorant to this immigration law. Don't get out there with these activism, these crazy lunatic, detached from reality people. These people are mentally ill. And they get paid for it to do whatever they do to, to cause conflict and confusion or whatever they doing. But these people are just mentally ill. Follow the law, and things will go much better for you than listening to these lunatics out in the street doing the stuff they doing. Okay, here we go.
Outraging activists who claim ICE isn't playing fair, using loopholes to arrest those fighting their immigration charges in court, even though everyone being arrested was already in America illegally and should have been deported the moment they crossed our border.
Masked agents detained people leaving Phoenix Immigration Court for a second day. Protesters pushing, shoving, and even blocking the van.
They're holding signs saying, "Don't talk without a lawyer, stay silent, don't sign anything." Also, you can see some agents, undercover agents, standing, keeping watch in this parking garage over here.
This is all part of a major shift in ICE tactics to deport people who are in the country illegally. Now, once their case is dismissed, they immediately lose their temporary protection to be in the U.S. They walk out of the courtroom, and that's where ICE agents are standing by to arrest them and to take them away right on the spot.
They were here doing what they're supposed to do at immigration court and were arrested by ICE.
Unfortunately, as soon as he stepped out of the waiting room, they detained him right away.
We do know a lot of these asylum claims are phony. It's just a fact.
So activists are losing their minds that ICE is deporting people who aren't supposed to be in America. But what nobody complaining about this will admit is that everyone now being deported was only here because of a loophole created by America's last president, which allowed them to live here under a special protected status anyone could acquire after walking across the border and turning themselves in, at which point they'd be given a court date for their offense and told they could stay in America while waiting for their day in front of a judge. But now immigration judges are dropping these cases, which means the temporary protections associated with these cases that may have allowed people to stay in America indefinitely are also dropped. And proponents say this special status was given to individuals through an illegal loophole in the first place, almost as a reward for sneaking into America, where they'd get de facto legal status while waiting to go to court, and then, with the help of activists, fight for the right to stay here forever. Which brings us to the real reason activists are so upset about these courthouse raids. These courts were supposed to be a free ticket to life in America for people who never should have been here in the first place. But with judges dismissing charges, entering one of these courthouses could now be a free ticket back to one's home country. And now ICE, the most understaffed government agency that actually serves the public interest, has to make a choice. How do they use their meager resources, which amount to around 6,000 officers who can even carry out deportations to begin with, in a safe manner that does not endanger the general public like this?
When his legal status was questioned, he took off.
Come on out! Get out here right now! I see your hands! Come on out!
He was caught hiding in a nearby neighborhood shed. He was previously convicted for unlawful possession of a firearm and assaulting an officer.
That guy was dangerous, and he was taken down in a...
Exactly. You hear what I'm saying? Like, this guy is dangerous. We got criminals coming across our borders, and as the cases are going to be checked out, they waiting, and that was from somebody that found some kind of way to bring them here and let them be here in the United States, gave them some kind of legal status here to be here for temporarily. Now that these judges are going through all these cases, they are no longer, allowed to stay here. Their cases have been dismissed. They looking at what your reasons are for here. You had some temporary asylum to be in the United States, but what is your purpose of being here? They checked everything out. Look, the United States government can't take care of the whole world, okay? We can only allow a certain amount of people to be in the United States if you want to have immigration status here. That's how it is. If you come in here for job reasons, they might give you an opportunity, like you want to come and bring your family, you want to come here and work and build your life here in the United States of America, you want to become American citizen, you got to come with some kind of something under the table. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not going to continue to keep feeding people our benefit and resources here, like giving you welfare and food stamps, housing, Medicaid, educate you. You could get student loans or whatever it is and become a legal citizen in the United States and taking all our resources. No, it doesn't go like that. A lot of people that have come and migrated here in the United States of America that came for some kind of skill, they came with some kind of skill. They speak fluent English. You know, they study the American history here. They want to be a part of the melting pot here as immigrants. Then they'll look at that and probably consider you because you'll be a good, outstanding citizen here. We don't want people coming in here with terrorism, poverty, whatever, because we got to take care of you. If we accept you as a migrant over here, we got to take care of you. We got to make sure we have the funds, the resources and everything else to feed you, to house you, to clothe you, to educate you, medical care, all of that. We have to have that to take care of you as an immigrant here. That's why people came over here, because we're offering these resources over here in America to you, and you getting comfortable with it and you loving it here because your government is so, y'all got a government wherever going on in your country that doesn't have that kind of aid. They probably do get some aid, but some of them are so, you gotta, sometimes these governments and everything in your country, they not good to the people. They don't have it set up the way. That's what make America so great, because we take care of America. We take care of our foreigner. But some of y'all came here and got too comfortable and being disrespectful and thinking that and burning the American flags, causing all kind of problems in our criminal system for us here, overwhelming us with criminals and everything else like that, dumping out the dregs of your prisons, and y'all bringing these people here, and it's just out of control. It's out of control. But anyway, let's go back to the video.
Residential neighborhood on someone else's property in a public setting that could have gone seriously bad, putting officers, the fugitive, and everyone around in danger, revealing that it would be great if there were some way ICE could peacefully detain dangerous individuals without having to chase them down and put people at risk. Well, as you're about to see, there is, but instead of being happy about it, activists are very upset, almost as if they want people to fight it out with ICE.
We know that several people were arrested by ICE inside this courthouse earlier today. And again, we were here to see two of those arrests in person. Here's the exclusive video that we're talking about. I want to explain how this tactic works. This is on the orders of the Department of Homeland Security. Many immigrants who entered illegally, again, within the last 2 years, they're having their cases dismissed when they show up to their scheduled hearings. Now, once their case is dismissed, they immediately lose their temporary protection to be in the U.S. They walk out of the courtroom, and that's where ICE agents are standing by to arrest them and to take them away right on the spot. And as we mentioned, this has been going on here in Dallas and across the country in major cities. Miami was added to that list earlier today.
So this tactic, it's not just happening in one specific courthouse in one part of the country. This seems to be happening nationwide at courthouses pretty much everywhere. And here's why this is such a smart idea on ICE's behalf. If somebody's in court...
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? This is why I try to show you these videos. This is why I do this, so that people can get a clearer understanding or educate you about what's really taking place with this immigration, and that I'm trying to keep people from being out there doing all of this protesting, activism, and all that, because I'm trying to help you out, okay? So that you won't get caught up in this madness, and the next thing you know, you end up being detained there yourself. I don't play when it comes to the government. When they get frustrated, these people are getting mad now. Y'all want to keep going out there and keep burning the American flag, talking about, oh, it's like, yes, we open our borders for people that come here in America that are legal, and they handled their business. Before they got here, they did all their paperwork over there to get their status and their case come through for them to look at their case and everything, and then see what they bring it to the table. We ain't gonna just bring you here and just offer you all the benefits and resources, and we have our own poor people in our government here that are suffering and living out on the street, and they ain't getting no help or whatever like that, because that's when the problem comes. Y'all helping all these immigrants, but what about your own people? And this is where the problem is. Y'all getting our unemployment, y'all getting our other aid here. That's why the Republicans like, look, we ain't giving no. All of this is done and over with. You come here to the United States, you got to bring your own resources. That means that you could come here already if you got here and everything and you got a job or whatever like that in your country, and you come into the United States, over here to our borders and everything, and you come into a market like being a good, something about law. Okay, you could be a lawyer over here, or you could come over here with your own resources already. You're a good doctor from your country. You want to come and help and build your life here, and make yourself a life here in the United States of America, or you just want to get temporary status just to come here to work. You can come on over here. But the ones who's poor, they don't really gonna come here. They want to take up all the resources. We got to take care of you. We got to feed you, house you, clothe you, and everything. Some people come here, migrated over here because they came here already with a skill. Okay? See, that's where you got to look at it. Your government got to take care of they poor over there. And this government over here in the United States of America, we take care of our poor over here. It is what it is. America, the American people, citizens first.
A federal courthouse, they can't go in there with a firearm. They're wearing a suit. They're trying to be on their best behavior. They're not looking to get confrontational or aggressive with law enforcement, which makes a courthouse one of the safest locations ICE could even conduct this type of arrest. You don't have people running, fleeing, or fighting, or going after officers, or driving like madmen in some car down the street. No, none of that. These arrests are nonviolent, safe, and peaceful, except for the peaceful protesters.
When agents would emerge from that building, protesters would shout a lot of things, including no more ICE, many other things. It got really tense at times as they would surround an unmarked van that masked ICE agents would be bringing these detained people to. It led to pushing and shoving on both sides at different points. This repeated itself a second time as well as ICE agents went back up to detain more people. This all started yesterday with what...
Yeah, it just occurred to me. The ICE agents involved in this, they are not getting aggressive or confrontational. And the people they're arresting, they're not getting aggressive or confrontational either. The only aggression and confrontation is coming from these protesters. If they weren't there, nothing would be happening. Yet these activists think they're helping people when they actually aren't. They're just increasing the danger level for everyone involved. If they truly cared about the people being arrested, they wouldn't be here putting those people in danger with...
Thank you. And see how ICE is trying to do their job. You know what I'm saying? They trying to do their job. This is the law of the land, okay? And these people, so they try to do it in a way like, yeah, give them a court date, let them show up, and when they come in, then we get them, okay? So that will work a lot more efficiently. But these people are coming and going and getting in the way. This one big back burly woman and a whole bunch of protesters, why the ICE had to go pick some people up at wherever the workplaces they are at or whatever like that. Here they are in the way, jumping in front of a freaking truck, doing dangerous things. You see, having these, and that's what I say about the dude. They know this stuff. They know this stuff, putting you in the middle, putting you in some kind of danger like that with these mass protesters and everything else like that. That's why I say it's important that you get this information, that you don't go out there trying to play against the law, okay? And get yourself in trouble. So let's go on.
Their actions. And what are they even upset about? Everyone being arrested does not have legal permission to even be in the country. It's that simple. And even though this is happening at a courthouse, with the background of due process, protesters are furious. But to understand why, it's important to look at what exactly is going on here and why it works and is perfectly legal.
Appears to be a change in legal strategy by prosecutors here, by the administration. ICE has not commented, but an immigration attorney told us that the feds are dismissing all of the pending cases, and by doing that,
now, this is a process. I mean, these are people that work in the legal system. How are they trying to go against the American government like that? This is ridiculous. They know that. I know they're trying to help some people, and some people getting caught up in the middle of it. But this was only a temporary asylum for these people. And now it's time to go send them back to their country, and then they have to go through the process of trying to do it the right way. Because there's some people who've done it the right way, and they backing them up.
They have nothing in front of the court. So agents believe they have the authority then to go in and detain them as those people exit the courtroom.
They were here doing what they're supposed to do at immigration court and were arrested by ICE.
Unfortunately, as soon as he stepped out of the waiting room area of the court, right where the elevators are, there were several federal agents waiting to talk to him, and they detained him right away.
So you've got to understand, the people that are at this courthouse and the people that have these charges, they entered the country without permission, and the previous policies at the border were that when people did that, they would be allowed in, they would be given a court date, and they were allowed to stay here while that court date approached, instead of being blocked from entering the country and either immediately deported or at least turned around and sent back. And what this reveals is that the charges people are in court fighting were essentially a backdoor method of allowing them to just remain in the country with legal status, giving them temporary protections that include allowing people to apply for jobs and get a tax ID while waiting for their quote-unquote due process, which is why you're hearing so much screaming about that. The protesters are saying that folks aren't getting their due process, but proponents of these arrests are saying, look, these people shouldn't even be here to begin with. This whole due process thing has been a scam since day one because people should have been blocked from coming into the country originally.
Nick Suriel has practiced immigration law in Phoenix, saying this federal shift goes against the book of law.
This idea that there's gray in whether or not this is the law, there is no gray area. This is the law of the land.
The Immigration and Nationality Act has been in place since 1952 in the U.S.
This is the law. People have to show up to court and present their cases.
And some of these lawyers, you got to be careful with because they being very shisty. They just trying to, scam you out of money. And they know the law. They know the law. But if you ignorant to it, people will take advantage of you. Even some of these attorneys, they taking advantage. They not telling you the law.
We should allow them to do so. These are people complying, showing up for hearings. That's a good thing, right? And so that's changed now.
Yeah, and the reason it's changed is because this...
Hi, Frederick. How are you? Thank you for stopping in. I see 53 people. Very good. Could you please hit the like button? I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Whole process appears to have been fraudulently initiated. Yes, people are abiding by this process, but this process shouldn't be here in the first place because it essentially allowed people to sneak into the country, be given a court date, hit with charges, and then allowed to stay here indefinitely. And the hope of these activists was that all of these new illegal residents would fight their cases and get to stay here for a very long time, possibly forever, while clogging up immigration courts, which already have a massive backlog. And now the reason that these activists are so upset is because the only way people can stay here legally is if they go to court. And now that the cases are getting dropped and people are being arrested, to them, it looks like a catch-22.
This is happening when you're showing up at immigration court. Do you show up? And then if you don't show up, then you certainly could be deported.
Well, exactly. It's a double-edged sword there. That's why it's an interesting legal strategy shift here that we have seen from the feds. I heard multiple people make that point to me today, is that this just creates a new situation where people are going to stop. The people that are following this process, they believe in the legal way that they are required to and supposed to, doing it the right way.
So people who illegally entered the country and were given a court appearance through a loophole, these are actually people who believe in the law, that there is no higher standard, and they just want to do everything the right way. When you watch some of these people get detained, they're not being violent. The only violence is coming from the protesters. So perhaps that is true, but it doesn't look like there's anything to be upset about. This is how the legal system works. People are coming to court for charges that never should have been brought. Those charges allowed them to stay in the country. When the judge looks at this case and says, hey, this shouldn't have happened, this person shouldn't even be here, and they just dismiss the whole thing, and then that person gets deported, Those are the rules, right? Why are people so upset? Obviously, we know the answer to that.
In the U.S. for more than 2 years can be deported without a court hearing.
It's just a total disregard by the government for due process rights.
On Truth Social last month, President Trump said it was not possible to give everyone a trial.
This is basically people not given a chance to even say why they deserve to stay here when we told them they would have a chance to make that case.
Immigration attorney Weitzel was in court with a client this week.
I saw the doors swing open and there were ICE agents waiting there to pick them up and take them.
She doesn't think this will help with the backlog of 4 million cases, but she does think it will instill fear and stop people from showing up for court.
There are people who were
So here's an attorney who's saying that this isn't going to help at all, but it is her job to take these kinds of cases and defend these individuals, revealing a possible conflict of interest. But there's another way to look at this. The president just said it's not going to be possible to give everyone a trial. And with a backlog of 4 million immigration cases, he's right. But here's the thing. People having their cases dropped, who activists are saying deserve the chance to come here and talk about why they should be able to stay here, these are folks that already came into the country illegally and were fraudulently allowed to enter the court system. And what if you're an immigrant who's here and you've got a non-fraudulent immigration case? Where's your due process? How are you going to get it if the court is jammed full of cases that should be dismissed and dropped because they're frivolous or they only exist because of a loophole to begin with? Revealing that all of this activism actually restricts due process for people who are here legally.
We do know a lot of these asylum claims are phony. I mean, it's just a fact.
Absolutely. No, and that's very true as well. There's a process for that to figure that out. It looks like this is sort of a workaround, though, to get out of that.
Interesting.
Here's an interview on News Nation with Tom Homan, the border czar, and he says that over the last 10 years, 9 out of 10 of the people who are here claiming asylum will get an order of removal because they simply don't qualify for asylum. What they did is commit asylum fraud. And these activists who are so upset that their clients are doing things the quote-unquote legal way never mention that they're only doing that after coming in here and breaking our immigration laws. And they think a lawless president is deporting people when the reality is a lawless president created a system that allowed these folks to get in here to begin with. And this is a slap in the face to the millions of people standing in line, trying to get into the country correctly, paying their fees, doing background investigations and all the stuff they're supposed to do. Those people, oh no, they have to stand aside while folks that shouldn't even be here are apparently allowed to do what? Stay in court forever and live here while that happens?
You see, it's not even affecting just those who are citizens already here. It's affecting those who doing it the right way to become citizens here. And that backs them up. You see what I'm saying? It makes it hard for them to be able to get legal status here.
On here in Dallas and across the country in major cities. Miami was added to that list earlier today as well. I want to get to a statement that we received from a senior DHS spokesperson on this matter. It says, quote, most aliens who illegally enter the United States within the past 2 years are subject to expedited removals. ICE is now following the law and placing these illegal aliens in expedited removal. So that's sort of their account of what's been going on.
So there you have it. America's laws were broken. People that just came here and should have been turned around and sent back, they're subject to expedited removal. But the activist crowd doesn't want that. They want anybody who enters the country to immediately receive a whole bunch of rights and have all kinds of access to our courts and the ability to legally stay here and work while these court cases play out, because what they secretly want is for mass migration. This is an open borders policy masquerading as complaints of injustice against people who deserve due process. What do you think about that? Is ICE doing the right thing? Are arresting people safely at a courthouse the best thing for the fugitive? And are the protesters the least peaceful component of all of this? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching.
Yep. Okay. So these are the things that we need to be educated about as citizens of the United States of America. You got to do your research. You got to understand how the law works. Stop going out there putting yourself in danger, trying to protect people who not supposed to even be here in the first place. And somehow you're going to be complaining later on about, well, where's my taxes are paying for this, when you see crime going up and all of these, your cities being so overwhelmed and crowded, housing, you can't get an apartment, And what else can it be? Sometimes even problems with you even getting sometimes some aid when you have some hardship. So you got to take all of this into consideration. That these people are running around here protesting and not following the rules, being unlawful. This unlawfulness. Okay, I'm not getting out there and putting myself in no kind of danger, especially any kind of danger with the law, or get myself detained and be put in some, illegal status somewhere else in some country. I don't play with that stuff. The law is the law. That's the law of the land, and people need to follow the law. Okay? And I'm bringing this into your attention so that everybody could be on one accord and understand how things work. This is not President Trump. He's doing his job as the leader of our military here and the leader of our, country here, protecting our rights here, protecting us as citizens here. Because we don't know who's coming across them borders. These are murderers and rapists and fraudulent and people doing all kind of breaking all kind of rules. And you wonder why we have these crazy, insane people coming out of mental institutions and crazy. It's like Trump said. Everybody mad at Trump. I'm not mad at Trump. If he's protecting me from all of this danger that's coming in across our borders, and then our military. Bridge, that's a totally different thing when you talk about the Martin Luther King March. That's a totally, totally different thing from this immigration stuff. There was the rights that we weren't being treated fairly as citizens. And we didn't come here, illegally. So that was a totally different fight for civil. This is not a civil rights thing. This is a unlawful thing that people are breaking the law and coming into the United States. So you need to do your research on that one. Martin Luther King thing his movement was not for illegals. His movement was for civil rights for the black people, the citizens that were here. For the American citizens. Not the illegal citizens. Not the illegal immigrants. Everybody try to use Martin Luther King in this. Martin Luther King, y'all got to do your American history so that you will understand what that was about. That's why it's important to learn American history before you come over here. His thing was, and people say, oh, we fought for you illegals to come over the line, and we had our own problems here. Make it make sense. When we fighting for our human rights here in the United States as American citizens. We American citizens. We didn't come in here for a green card, okay? Our problems were, this is not our fight. And this is how a lot of black people are jumping on the bandwagon, getting in this fight, and they going to be the ones get pew pew. Okay? This is not our fight. This ain't got nothing to do with violating our human rights. This has something to do with violation of the law, being here illegally. I wasn't here illegally. Okay? Boycott all Mexican. Well, we might have to do that, but I feel sorry for those who trying to do the right thing. So that's kind of hard to boycott all of them, because some of them did come to start their businesses and they came with their own money and they built their own business here in the United States of America, and they came with their own wealth. Then you got the ones here that's just coming here to dry up our resources. So it's kind of hard for me to do that, for the good ones that did the right thing. Now, the ones who burned the flag, oh yeah, you automatically got to go. You just got to go. And I just want all other migrants out there, people that came here for a better opportunity and everything else like that, that we don't have to fight against each other if you know the law. If you know what the illegal immigration laws are, the immigration laws are. That's why I have to bring this out here to people to know this stuff. Because then the bad people are making it hard for the good people. And when you look into American history, I have to talk about that with you some other time, but I'll just tell you one thing. Not all black people that came to America were slaves. There was some of us who got here before the slaves got here. Listen to what I'm saying. Some of us came with the settlers. Some of us were settlers that traveled across the land and came and came to the land and the opportunity here in America to build in the beginning of America. That's another story. That's why I say you got to learn American history, because not all part of American history was all this foolishness that you being miseducated about. Okay, as you out there on the street, when you on the street, and believe it or not, Martin Luther King, he was a Republican. He was used by the Democrat Party because they wanted to win elections and all this other stuff. And so they just offer these opportunities of welfare and resources to us. But he was actually a Republican, and the Republican Party used him to march us right into the Democrat Party. You know what I'm saying? That's if you do your American history. Yep. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. I thank all of you for coming in. I know you got questions and things you want to share, but it's kind of hard for me to see it coming up. Some people want to attack here because they just mad, and you have a right to feel, but I just share what I can here with you, and I'm not going to fight with people because it's not even up for debate. It is what it is. It's the law is the law. Okay? And we got to stop fighting against the law, because you fight in a war you cannot win. It's the law. The law is the law. And some people just want to keep fighting up against the law.
We have our documents in.
Wait, let's listen to this.
Agreeing with the way things are happening.
We're not going to listen to her because she's kind of like lost in history. I want to share another one here with you.
No, I may have a difference
this is coming from Kingdom Reacts.
Beliefs due to knowledge and having information that I've researched and not going with the mainstream media. But outside of that, let me get this straight. Illegals jumped into a comment section with all the disrespect, proving a point. They don't want conversation. They want control. The Second in American says this isn't our fight. Suddenly, we're lazy, uneducated, and xenophobic. Nah, this ain't unity, man. This is manipulation. You want our bodies on the front line, but you don't want our voices in a conversation. Now, watch what happens when this illegal immigration supporter is forced to explain herself.
Black people getting on TikTok or any other app right now, speaking about, well, I don't understand why they can't just go to the legal route. Well, I don't understand why they should be allowed to do illegal things. Well, I don't understand. Shut up. Shut up. And it kills me that the primary people I see when you search up immigration and the topics of it, like the primary people I see speaking out against immigrants and speaking on like what's going on in such a negative way, agreeing with the way things are happening, are primarily black men.
This is the perfect example of a black young lady who's miseducated, misinformed, and she just out here running her big mouth. She didn't do her research. She just thinks automatically that this has something to do with us as well, that we should be putting ourselves out there as shills. But I'm going to continue to play the video.
Look for that man? Oh, not surprised. Not surprised. Here's the thing. Everybody I see, every black person that's speaking on the topic is saying like, I don't understand why immigrants can just do what they want to do. I don't understand. Why can't they just go the legal route? You obviously don't watch the news. It shows. You obviously don't read court proceedings. You obviously don't listen to congressional hearings on why the legal route isn't working. People are trying to go the legal route. They show up to go to their immigration hearings and they're getting arrested before they step their foot in the door.
Now, did you hear? Now, didn't I just show you the video about how they have to use that strategy for them to show up at court because because they wasn't here legally in the first place and they already been dismissed and they have to be deported. So she's gonna go on about it, they doing it in a way where they arresting and detaining people, but the thing is that they were here illegally. But they didn't want the protesters, you see the protesters are out there starting trouble, but the people are leaving quietly and nicely. But it's the protesters, the agitators, who are making it hard for everybody else. Yeah, exactly, Ronald. Let's go on.
Not because they actually had a hearing. Not because they actually had due process and were found to be a criminal or a drug user. People who are selling flowers on the road are getting arrested, who were trying to go the legal route. Have you not realized that the current administration has been using the legal route as entrapment?
A Trump
the only
hater.
people that have been able to gain citizenship
The
within the last
Democrats
year or
don't
so
got in her head.
came from the previous administration. Come on now. And before we sit here and debate going the legal route, may I remind you that at one point, slavery and Jim Crow was legal in this country. What is legal is not always moral. So chop it out of your sentence. You were brought here through the legal route. Oh, but we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. And at one point, the legal route was beating your behind.
And they're going to beat your behind
drag
too
you
if you go in
Now,
that
the people
freaking
that are
fight
trying
that
to
ain't got
stay
nothing
here,
to do with
that are opting
you.
to stay here, may have came the illegal route, but are trying to gain citizenship. And at the same time, still being entrapped and then thrown in institutions because they tried to go the legal route. On top of that, you have people that were here for school under the DREAM Act, etc., whatever it may be, that were here for school from overseas, that were only given citizenship status temporarily in order to attend school, where they can later, if finding a job, apply for permanent citizenship. What's happening there? Though they went the legal route, now their citizenship, their temporary status as students.
That's it. You was only here for school, and now you got to go back after you finish your temporary status in school. You got to go back to your place and put in your information. If you want to come back, that's what you do. But right now, in your court hearing or whatever you have to do. While you over here with a visa from school, you are allowed to work. Okay, because you got school fees probably to pay and also, a living. You have to make yourself a living while you're here. So yes, it's okay if you here over school. You legal. Temporarily. She need to do her research. So let's continue to play this video.
Is being pulled. If your status for temporary citizenship is being pulled while you're still in school, you by default, you become illegal as well. So how do we go the legal route now? You tell me, how do we go the legal route now? Yeah, shut up. It also blows my mind that people are coming on this app and saying like, well, black people, you should not be helping protest the issues going on.
She probably still in high school, y'all. She don't know nothing about the world. She don't know nothing about the law. She just going with whatever people out here just saying. You have to go and do your research, sweetheart. She don't know anything. She's still just coming out of the womb.
Or speaking out against it. And I get it. With the previous election, when it comes to like how we showed up, especially black women, I'm really only speaking on black women. I get it. Do we get out in the fields? Do we go help? Because I get it. You may be question mark over your head. But when it comes to actually speaking out about what's happening in these ICE raids and the things happening in our dead faces and speaking out, who are you to tell somebody not to speak out on the issue regarding how people are getting beat in the street, dragged from their home, people who are little children being pulled out of school, children that can't vote, immigrants that can't vote, people that did not vote that man in office because they literally cannot vote. Who are you to tell us not to? You're blaming immigrants and children of immigrants for the actions of those who were of Hispanic and Latino heritage that were citizens and could vote. You're blaming immigrants and their existence on how someone else voted. This is one of those, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything in all situations. I'm not going to sit here and debate facts with anybody in the comments. Facts are facts. I only get paid to debate opinions on the facts. I don't debate actual facts. And the facts are the facts, and I've already stated them, period, point blank. You cannot debate what is humane and what is not. sitting on a horse and beating people like we are Jim Crow 2.0, going across the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Bloody Sunday, beating people in the year of 2025 with a baton that are marching without weapons, that are not blocking anything, they're not doing anything, beating people, not giving your badge when you're a law enforcement, when you are a federal agent, not giving your name and badge and appearing in streets in an unmarked vehicle, just dragging and snatching people like it's kidnapped off the street. What? That's not humane. Taking little children out of their elementary schools in the middle of the day, and teachers now having to be a primary line of defense because if the children are snatched up, their parents can't find them because I think you think families are getting snatched up together. No, they're not. They're getting snatched up individually. Imagine your 5-year-old child is snatched off the street. You have to go look for that child because you're not going to leave your baby.
His
One of
face.
y'all,
Look at his
or
face.
if 2 of y'all having no immigration status, then you show up looking for your child. You're arrested. You're deported, and you still can't find your child because you were placed in 2 different areas. Your child shows up in I don't know, maybe Mexico or wherever. They show up by themselves. You think they're reuniting families over there? Oh, they're not. Shut up. It's not your job. You're not helping. Just shut up if you don't agree.
There it is, y'all. The usual script. Play the victim. Blame racism. Cry Jim Crow 2.0.
Exactly. You got a 5-year-old
ignore
child on the
laws
street.
being broken.
You the problem.
If enforcing immigration laws is now oppression, then what's the point of having a border at all? Let's not pretend getting arrested after breaking the law is the same as being beaten for your skin color. Please stop this nonsense.
Exactly.
And since when does emotion override the law? We don't get to walk into Mexico or Japan and demand benefits, and neither should anyone else here. And the biggest question, why do you expect Black Americans to frontline for everyone except for themselves? But wait, this next part flips it all upside down, y'all.
Attention all illegal migrants and their supporters. Please stop leaning in on Black Lives Matter back in 2020. Black Lives Matter was a big scam. It was the biggest scam since cauliflower buffalo wings, okay?
I didn't do no Black Lives
and them
Matter
wings
either.
show enough fake, okay? Some of you guys.
I just want y'all to know I didn't do Black Lives Matter either. I didn't get a part of that either. Okay? I didn't know what was going on in Ferguson or whatever these things that took place. I saw it on the news, but I said, let it go through the courts. I don't know what was happening at the time. I wasn't going to jump on the bandwagon with that mass crowd of people and get myself hurt out there. Just walk right into crossfire. No. But come on, let's go.
They're making videos talking about why Black people are not standing with the illegal migrants. Number 1, you're illegal. That's why. Number 2, not all Black people are built the same, okay? Because I didn't stand with the fakeness of Black Lives Matter back in 2020, and I'm sure not standing with the illegal migrant in 2025. We don't stand with lawlessness. We don't stand with anarchy. We don't stand with riots or looting, causing taxpayers millions upon millions or billions of dollars. And if any of you Black people want to go out there and stand with them, you just as cuckoo for Cocoa Pops as you was back in 2020. When are y'all going to stand for what is right?
She's right.
We have immigration laws, okay? It is not this administration's fault because the Biden administration did not implement immigration laws.
Exactly.
Just open the border and say, come on in. We're going to be a globalist society. Out there singing, open the borders and no more USA. That's what they singing. When you support the destruction of a city, a town, a society, we know who team you on, okay? And you are not down with G.O.D. Out there thinking y'all serving Jesus. Y'all serving Barabbas.
That's what I said.
Prison for anarchy and insurrection and unaliving Romans. Going against the governing authorities. Ain't no Christ in this. I don't care how much y'all say, let the foreigners live among us. But conveniently forgetting, obey the governing authorities. That is the word of God that you conveniently leaving out. Nobody is against the immigrant. That is the lie y'all have been telling for the longest, and we are sick of it. We are against the illegal migrant. Big difference. If you're gonna
Exactly.
wave your little funky foreign flag in America, go back to your little funky foreign country, okay? And to the lady that said, well, y'all be going to Mexico on vacation.
Oh, it looked like the audio is out of
I've
sync,
never
y'all.
been to
That's not
Mexico
me.
on vacation.
We have a passport, okay? We have our documents in order, and we tell them we are going through customs. When they ask us, they say, hey, when you leaving? If we say we're gonna stay for 5 days, baby, we be at that airport on the 5th day leaving. We just don't post up and stay in the country, okay? We know them federales are gonna come and get us if we do so. How dare you think you can do whatever you want to do when you get here? There is no consequences or repercussions. We have plenty of mercy for the immigrant. The foreigners can live among us, peace, love, and kumbaya. That is the love of Jesus Christ. Y'all not gonna twist them scriptures, honey. First, obey the governing authorities. Come here legally, many before you. That part.
That's it. The line has been drawn, y'all. We are not y'all shield, okay? We're not y'all political pawns. We definitely not going to be guilt tripping or co-signing chaos just because it makes these leftists and Democrats feel better. You know, you want to talk about Jesus? Cool. Let's talk about obeying the laws of the land, like she said. I want to talk about compassion and about respecting a nation that gave you the freedom to protest in the first place.
Okay.
This isn't hate. This is called boundaries, okay? And just like she said, we've got passports, with an S, my fault. We followed the law, and we're not sorry for saying it. I'm not sorry for being a law-abiding citizen. So ask yourself, would you march for us the way you expect us to march for you? Or do you only need us when it's time to take the hits?
Thank you. You know, that's why I said it's good to hear both sides of things. So then you can hear the truth. This ain't only just going on in America as far as illegals being in people's country. It's going on across the land. These are the laws of the land. And this we always going to have them people who did their research, who educated themselves about some things. And then you got some people that just want to use manipulation just so things can just look the way they want it to be. And that's when you call it like, don't let the devil play in your head. Even I told you about Christ. People wanted Barabbas. They didn't want Christ. They wanted to break the laws. They want to be murderers. They wanted to be a person that killed just to have their way and then put other people's innocent lives at risk. Where Christ was about righteousness. So you got to know the difference between the two. And that's a whole nother sermon for you. But I don't got time to speak about it. But I wanted you to hear both sides of the truth. You heard the young girl running her mouth and talking about this and that. She didn't do no research. She just jumped on the bandwagon. Little, you know, she's young. And we all do that when we're young. We want to follow the crowd. We want to be a part of something. And go out there and change the world. But she's young. And it's sad that so many young people can't think for themselves. That they will be somebody's for the devil to play in their head. Be the devil's playground. So when things like this start happening, that's why you got to be careful when you go, even with black people. You know, the devil will catch you off guard and play on your emotions. Even with some of us, when every time there's a crime against one of us, we automatically think it's because it's racism. It has something to do with race. Got to know the law. You got to learn different. You got to see it for what it is. You got to know what is righteous and what is unrighteous. What is true and what is untrue. Checks and balances here, y'all. Well, with all of that being said, I'm out of here. Please leave your comments in the comment section. If this is your first time coming to the Casey McDaniel channel, please hit that like button and subscribe. Hit the bell so when I come on, you be notified. You all, thank you for coming in, and I hope somebody got something out of this that I just brought to you.